Hey, I'm Chef Eddie G, and when I was growing up, the only time you saw a farm was on TV, out in the country somewhere. Produce, fish, meat, it all came wrapped in plastic. Wine, it came from Europe. Beer, always in a can. And spirits, well, big brand names you could get pretty much anywhere. And it's just not the case anymore. Going local, that's what this Locavore movement is all about. People want fresh from farm to table. And it's all about seasonal and fresh quality products. But you know what? It's not just about food either, it's about booze. Local wineries are everywhere, not just in California. And we have distilleries popping up everywhere, as well as breweries, all local. And that's what this is all about. So every week, I'm gonna go into the fields and talk to the farmers and ranchers and see what it takes to bring the food to your table. I'll also visit the small mom and pop dairies and artisanal bakers and pasta makers. Then I'll pair the local bounty with beer from craft breweries, wines from family vineyards, and shots from local micro distilleries. And it will all end up here on a plate at my table. So I'm gonna go out there and find them and sample them and pair them with fresh local ingredients. So I'm here with Mark McTavish at the 101 Cider House, and he knows a little about cider.
I do. Cider is an apple wine, typically only fermented from apple juice, but nowadays we use a lot more interesting ingredients like hops, different fruits, quince, cactus pears, cherries, apricots, things like that. So whatever you might find in any orchard anywhere is typically good for making cider.
So what's your favorite, I guess, is
Favorite ingredient?
Yeah.
Quince would be number one.
Is that right?
For sure, yeah. The quince is kind of the forgotten gem of the fruit world. It's the golden apple in the story of in the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve. So a lot of people think that was an apple. It was actually a quince. It's rock hard, you can't bite into it, so it must be a bad thing to try. So we boil it down into a reduction and make membrillo, which people know on a cheese plate. That's great. But how do people know it as a fermented beverage? Not at all. And the one thing that apples lack in this country is tannins and astringency and complexity.
In the beginning, everybody everywhere was a locavore. We were, and to a large extent still are, late Paleolithic hunter-gatherers. We eat what was around us. If you wanted to eat vegetables, you had to grow them yourself or know somebody who did. If you wanted chicken for dinner, you better have one on hand and be willing to give up the eggs it would otherwise produce. Fish was something you caught. Pork and beef meant killing and butchering an animal from the backyard, which oftentimes had a name. Venison, go get your musket and get busy. I'm Chef Eddie G, the 21st century locavore. It's about eating local and seasonal. It's about respecting the history of the place you live and enjoying the kind of foods that have been produced for decades, even centuries. It's about understanding that beer comes from brewers, not cans. Wine comes from vineyards, not bottles. And distilled spirits are a blend of art and science with a dash of black magic. So we'll go to New Mexico to check out the bison farms and great American sparkling wines. And to the mountains of North Carolina, where they smoke hog and make white liquor sold in mason jars. And to the coast of New England for the proper way to cook salt cod and chase it down with a frosty pint of ale. Maybe even a rattlesnake farm in West Texas next to a tequila factory. So is it a cooking show? Yes and no. What it is we're gonna take local ingredients and we're gonna put these awesome things together and create meals and dishes that are accessible to anyone. But I'm also here to celebrate the culinary history and tradition that makes every neighborhood, city, and state great. So at the end, we'll wind up at one of these food and wine festivals or some kind of an event that brings everything together. All the locals get to participate in what we've done for that episode. Why don't you come along for the ride?